1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The President has termed health and education for all as key factors in reduction of poverty and moving towards a non-elite system. The government is opening SARS registration desks all across the country to ensure inclusion of deserving households in the SARS survey process. The Minister for Planning has expressed concern over the rising cases of COVID-19, saying that the government has started imposing smart lockdown again to contain the spread of the pandemic. Pakistan has strongly condemned the unabated Indian state terrorism and extrajudicial killings of innocent Kashmiris and fake encounters in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Medical experts have warned that the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is facing a mental health crisis, particularly in the backdrop of two consecutive military sieges imposed by the Modi-led fascist Indian government in the territory since August 2019. Azerbaijan says despite the Russian-brokered ceasefire truce, 7 of its civilians have been killed in shelling by the Armenian forces in Ghania city. And now the news in detail. The President, Dr. Arif Alvi, says Pakistan is moving towards a non-elite health and education system as both the sectors are key in poverty reduction and national development. The President stated this while retweeting SARS program head Dr. Sania Nishtar's call on Twitter for SARS undergraduate scholarships applications from students with family income less than 45,000 rupees. The scholarship covering tuition fee and living stipend will provide deserving students an opportunity to study in any of the 125 public sector universities. The portal sars.hec.gov.pk is open for applications till the 30th of this month. Prime Minister Imran Khan has directed the volunteers of the Tiger Force to regularly check prices of basic commodities like wheat flour, sugar, ghee and lentils in their localities. In a tweet today, he asked the volunteers to post the prices on the Tiger Force portal. The Prime Minister said he will meet the Tiger Force volunteers on Saturday next at the Convention Centre in Islamabad. The government is opening SARS registration desks all across the country to ensure inclusion of deserving households in the SARS survey process. This was stated by the Special Assistant to the Prime Minister on Poverty Alleviation and Social Protection, Dr. Sania Nishtar, during her visit to Char Sadda to review the SARS registration desks. Interacting with the staff and the district management, she said the purpose of setting up these desks is to ensure that the households whose survey has not been conducted for any reason can come forward to self-register themselves in the SARS program. The Minister for Planning and Development, Asad Omar, has expressed concern over the rising cases of COVID-19, saying that the government has started imposing smart lockdown again to contain the spread of the pandemic. In a tweet today, he said during previous 6 weeks, the average positivity ratio of COVID was under 2%. However, in the outgoing week, the positivity rate went above 2%. Asad Omar said in order to avoid the increase in coronavirus cases in the country, the government has already imposed mini smart lockdown in Islamabad, Karachi and Azad Kashmir. He said the administrations have also been directed to ensure protective measures all across the country. The minister urged the people to cooperate with the government in the eradication of the pandemic because success is not possible without the cooperation of the public. Pakistan has strongly condemned the unabated Indian state terrorism and extrajudicial killings of innocent Kashmiris in fake encounters and so-called cordon and search operations in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In a statement in Islamabad today, the Foreign Office called upon the international community, including the United Nations Human Rights organizations, and the global media to take full cognizance of the consistently aggravating situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. It also called for holding India accountable for the egregious human rights violations and war crimes in the occupied territory. The Foreign Office urged the world community to work for peaceful resolution of the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions and wishes of the Kashmiri people for durable peace and stability of the region. 4 young Kashmiris were martyred in Kulgam and Pulwama districts of the occupied valley yesterday. A 14-year-old boy was seriously injured in the illegal and inhuman military crackdown. Over 300 Kashmiris, including women and children, have been martyred by the Indian occupation forces during the last 1 year. This is Radio Pakistan. The Azad Jammu and Kashmir President Sardar Masood Khan has said the Indian aggressive and expansionist designs are not only a threat to Kashmiris but also regional peace and security. He expressed these views while addressing leaders and workers of the Milli Yakjehti Council in Muzaffarabad. He said followers of Hindutva do not want to eliminate the Muslims in India and Kashmir alone, but also conspiring to extend their frontiers up to Kohala, Azad Patan, and Wakhan. The AJK president said India has deployed 1 million troops to not fight any terrorism but to slaughter 8 million Kashmiri people. The president urged the religious scholars and spiritual leaders to use the fora of mosques, imam bargahs, seminaries, and shrines to caution the people about the imminent dangers. He asked ulama to inform the people that the fascist Indian rulers have altogether changed the status of occupied Kashmir and now they are eyeing on Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. Medical experts have warned that the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir is facing a mental health crisis, particularly in the backdrop of 2 consecutive military sieges imposed by the Modi-led fascist Indian government in the territory since August 2019. The experts, mostly psychiatrists, while talking to media persons in Srinagar, said the sieges have instilled fierce psychosis among most of the residents, especially women and children. A Srinagar-based doctor at a government-run hospital pointed out that the Kashmiris were going through the worst and the darkest phase of mental health situation. Meanwhile, an analytical report released by the Kashmir Media Service said Pakistani flags hoisted during protest rallies in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir prove that the Kashmiris want to see their homeland to be a part of Pakistan. The report referred to the slogan Kashmir Banega Pakistan and said the slogan is the voice of every Kashmiri Muslim in the occupied territory. The report said Pakistanis and Kashmiris share strong religious, cultural and historical bonds and no power on earth can damage their oneness. Leading international daily, the New York Times says hasty lockdown in India by Prime Minister Narendra Modi led to an exodus of migrant laborers who could not afford to stay in urban areas, and their movement to rural areas spread the virus to every corner of the country. In an article, the paper writes that the country is still in the first wave of the virus, with cases surpassing 7 million and more than 100,000 deaths reported so far. The paper quotes experts who fear a worsening of situation leading to large-scale food and economic insecurity, anxiety and depression. The Russia-brokered ceasefire truce over Nagorno-Karabakh conflict comes under strain as Armenia and Azerbaijan have once again accused each other of violations just a day after the agreement. In a tweet, Azerbaijan's foreign ministry said 7 of its civilians have been killed in shelling by the Armenian forces in Ganya city. On the other hand, Armenian Defense Ministry accused Azerbaijan of continuous shelling on populated areas inside Karabakh. The International Day of the Girl Child is being observed today to recognize girls' rights and the unique challenges they face around the world. This year, the theme of the day is My Voice, Our Equal Future. Cricket. In the National T20 Cricket Cup at Rawalpindi against Northern team, Southern Punjab were 71 runs for the loss of 4 wickets in 13 overs a short while ago. Batting first, Northern team scored 145 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. And finally, the weather. Mainly dry weather is likely to prevail over most parts of the country, while hot conditions are expected in the plain areas during the next 12 hours. However, rain thunderstorm is expected in Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.